All right, it's the Pop Tower Podcast. I'm Peter W. Dawson.
I'm James Bullock.
How you doing today, James?
Oh man, I tell you one thing. I feel like I want to go so far, like just incredibly far, like almost further than the universe.
Denny's?
Mmm. Mm. Well, if we were, too sweet, I think we would be heading to Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. Although you gotta be careful. I hear there's some bad stuff going down at Cracker Barrel these days.
I do. I know. It's been a terrible, terrible time, especially when you think about this. Peter,
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't remember what your last name is.
Well, that's a bummer. On that bombshell, we're gonna be talking. We're gonna do a double header on anime this week. We're gonna be talking about an animated television show and an animated movie. And this is actually pretty good because, the movie in particular is kind of removed from recent events. I'll get to that later. So we're going to start out by talking about A Place Further Than the Universe, which is a 13-episode anime that recently aired in Japan. It started on January 2nd and ended in late March 27th. For anyone, I'm not going to bother mentioning what network it aired on because the big thing is it is available on Crunchyroll.
Exactly.
So, which is, of course, the main way to... This is one of the most popular ways to get anime nowadays, although, God bless them, Netflix and Amazon are certainly making an effort.
Yeah, Hulu's doing pretty well, too.
I couldn't tell you about it.
I know you don't. I know you can't. I know you can't access it, but it's actually doing pretty well too. So.
That's literally the equivalent of telling me like your strawberry patch outside is growing, man. I'm like, well, good. I can't get those strawberries. I like strawberries. I'm happy you have some, but they do nothing for me. Anyway, so A Place Further Than the Universe, yeah, it's on Crunchyroll, and it's done by Studio Madhouse, or just Madhouse.
Yes.
I usually call them Studio Madhouse. I know a lot of other people do. And they are a pretty big deal in the anime community. Just to name a handful of works they've done, they did the movie Ninja Scroll, they did Trigun, they did Black Lagoon, Death Note, and the movie Paprika. Oh, as well as I think it was only the first season of One Punch Man. But yeah, like that's just a smidge of the work they've done.
I know some of my favorites, like Beck, Mongolian Chop Squad, one of my favorite animes of all time.
Right.
One of my favorite anime movies, Summer Wars.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot about Summer. Yeah, that would have been a good one to mention because I like that one too.
Man, just so much goodness from this from this studio.
AKA, what happens if you remove the Digimon from a Digimon movie? Well, because the plot is kind of vaguely based on a Digimon movie.
It very much is. It really is. It's really like perfect for that time too when it came out.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I like it. I'm good. I love bringing that up whenever I talk about that movie.
Yeah, it just feels like a Digimon movie that's not Digimon.
Yeah.
It's the unlicensed Digimon movie that actually people love.
Even the art style is evocative, so it's funny.
Yeah.
But, so we're talking about A Place Further in the Universe. And no, we're not talking about other stuff because we prefer to. It's just Madhouse has such a...
It's such a rich history.
Yeah, so I mean, if anything, the series has a lot to live up to. And it's great because, you've had such epic tales as, like, a gunslinger and a mysterious future and, people fighting to stop a satellite from crashing into the Earth after an AI takes over the world. And this one is about 4 girls going on vacation. If you didn't see where I was going with that, James.
No.
Okay, no, I kid. It's both incredibly simple and incredibly complex, which is why I love this so much. Because like legit, I'm only slightly joking with that premise. It's essentially a story of 4 girls, all high school girls, who for their own reasons are going to join an expedition to go to Antarctica.
Yeah, want to join.
Yeah,
that's the main thing, especially with a couple of the girls.
Yeah, because about half the series is them trying to get on the journey. Like they don't reach Antarctica until episode 7 or 8.
Yeah, it's very late in the series.
Yeah, which is good reason because it's very much their trials and tribulations, just trying to get it all to happen, and even when they get there, making sure that they're not failing to live up to the expectations they've set for themselves and everything. Like And that's really what, because the root.
I mean,
Sorry.
no, I was about to say because, for example, just the adjustment of it. It's one hilarious scene. There's almost actually the entire episode where they have to deal with seasickness.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. One episode is just about adjusting to life on the boat, and a major element of that is seasickness. But yeah, to get a little more into the meat of the characters, because the whole point of the series is character. Like, the adventure is a big thing, and they do capture the wonder when they finally get there, even though it's Antarctica, and it's like, yeah, there's some wonder, but you're ultimately just hanging around a bunch of ice.
Right.
And
but man, they make it look beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I never thought I wanted to see Antarctica in person until I watched this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right from the get-go, I mean, this has one of the best anime openings of the last year or so, for sure.
Oh, it's so adorably cute and hilarious at the same time.
I know, and it's so well animated, and
yes,
and the song fits with the animation so well. Like, this is one of the, not to go off on a huge tangent, but one of the things that really frustrates me is I kind of like the theme for the third season of My Hero Academia, but like I realize the opening and the music don't entirely fit together, and the music also isn't quite up to snuff. So like it's frustrating because I can see a really good intro in that intro, but it's not the one that's actually there. And in this case, I think it is actually a pretty good intro with a pretty good song.
Yeah, it's a great song, and add to the fact you have a Moe Pac-Man.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Moe Pac-Man. Yeah, there's just all kinds of great antics. But yes, so to get into the characters themselves, our point of view character, I wouldn't say she's the protagonist, but she's certainly
right, because all four are really given that role,
well,
especially like one episode apiece at least.
Yeah. I mean, she's probably the second most important character. We'll get to the most important in a bit. Like if I had to name one of the four the protagonists, it wouldn't be this character, but it's Mari Tamaki. And much in Japanese fashion, a lot of people give them nicknames. In this case, since her last name is Tamaki and her first name is Mari, and in Japanese you would say the last name first, her nickname is Kamari.
Yes.
I want to explain that because I get the feeling I'm going to call her Kamari a lot, and I want to be clear. It's like, even though I said...
Yeah, that's what they pretty much called her throughout the series after they started getting adjusted to each other.
I know.
It was Kamari the entire time, so...
I know, it's one of those things. It's like when you had to... Even in Japan, it seems confusing. Just to bring it back to My Hero Academia, they had a whole thing where they got confused by someone's pet name.
Yeah.
And then he's like, quick, you have to go save pet name. Character runs up, he's like, wait, whose pet name? Oh, he's gone. Yeah, but that's the thing that pops up in a lot of anime. I guess it's just a popular thing in Japan in general. Well, couldn't say for sure. Anyway, so I don't want to get too tangency because we still have a lot to talk about with this.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So Kamari, she's basically disappointed she hasn't done anything interesting in her life because she's, I wouldn't say goody two shoes so much as she is afraid of genuinely being a rebel. Like she's kind of
right. She's a 16-year-old girl who's just lived a life.
Yep. She's not some attempt perfectionist because I mean we see in one of the opening scenes her room is filthy.
Oh no, she's a goofball.
Yeah.
I mean she's just a typical teenage girl.
Yeah. I mean all four leads to a degree are somewhat of an airhead.
Right.
I say that in the most affectionate way possible, but they have these dumb moments, and it's like, well, that's pretty... And in this case, she's somewhat hilariously ignorant, but she's also... she's seeking adventure, but she's worried of consequences, and it's interesting to see it, she's afraid to bust out of her shell, but she wants to bust out of her shell, and she just needs the right impetus. Right. So it's a very classic, she wants to heed the call to adventure, but she can't just create her own call, is probably the best way to put it.
That's a very good way of saying it. Yeah.
So it makes her a very distinct character. And, yeah. But then one day she meets Shirase. I'm not going to try to pronounce her surname because I'm really bad at Japanese.
No. We're going to butcher it.
The only one I'm worse at is Thai, man. I'm bad at Thai names. So Shirase is, I would say, the protagonist. And she's very fascinating because she's simultaneously a very shy and quiet girl. But she's also very passionate, and despite being very calculating, she can be very dumb.
Yes,
she legit,
very much so.
Despite being the person who's organized or trying to organize this, who has a master plan, she might be the dumbest of the four. Which is really hilarious.
And her moments of being camera shy was just a treat later on in the series.
Oh yeah, that's a running thing because she never gets over that.
No, she doesn't. Not even until the very end. She's just incredibly messed up when it comes to handling herself outside of her element.
Yeah, she's very neurotic in it to a degree.
Yes.
And it's very endearing though. Like one of the first scenes where she interacts with Kimari, it's both at first tragic because she's wallowing. Just to give slightly a bit of the plot away. Although honestly, this, like I said, this is about character more than plot. She's wallowing that she's lost $1 million yen that Kimari finds, and then when when we first see her, she's wallowing in the bathroom, basically like slamming the bathroom door, going no.
Yeah.
And then Kimari's like, "Hey, I found your money," and then Shirase just like gets all up in her business, being like, "Where did?
Yeah.
Are you a good person?" Yeah. Like it's so. Especially when you find out what Shirase's deal is, it's so not what you would expect from such a character, but it makes her all the more human because...
Yeah.
So the other big thing, which is kind of key to the plot, which I'll give away now, Shirase's mom went on an expedition a few years prior, and tragically she got lost and, well, like, she's dead.
Potentially died. Like, she potentially died.
Well, no one's really deluding themselves into thinking her mom's...
No, but it's like, it's that whole idea that maybe, just maybe, she's still there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main reasons why she wants to go. But then it's also that whole tie-in of, I want to be at that place my mother experienced. So I can have that experience, too.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I never really bought that she thought her mom was alive or anything. I just thought she...
No, I think it was one of those things, like, she knew that she was dead, but you want to see for a fact, like everyone knows for a fact that she's gone. You can confirm it. Yeah. Kind of like that moment of closure for her.
Well, yeah, no, closure is definitely the right word.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And but when it comes to Shirase, one thing I loved about her character is the fact she's so self-aware of just how neurotic and how much of a jerk she can be.
Yep.
Yet is so unaware of her other faults or flaws.
Well, one of my favorite things in the whole thing is part of her plan is like, okay, now we're going to seduce a male crew member to get them on our side. Which leads to one of the most hilarious, because they're all like, all right, let's try to be sexy.
Right, I mean, they're teenage girls, but they all, especially when it comes to Kimari, still look very young.
Yeah, because they're only like 16, 17.
Right. But in anime, it's like, but anime 16.
Yeah, it's true.
Then Moe 16. So
yeah, no, it's pretty great. But my favorite character, although Shirase's very close second, I have to say, because I just loved. Is the third member to join their crew, Hinata.
Yes. Yeah.
I think you and I are you in agreement? She's probably best girl.
I love Hinata's kickboxing skill.
Right. Okay, so we need to explain Hinata, because, first of all, she's... So, apologies to Naruto fans, she might be my favorite Hinata ever. Of any character named Hinata. But she's a high school-age student who actually left high school.
Yeah, she's a high school dropout.
Yeah, but she's passed all the entrance exams and everything, she's super intelligent.
Right, she's actually working actively toward to go to college. So... Yeah. She's really smart, yet it's like high school's just not for her.
Yeah, and so she's just working at a convenience store, and
yes,
which leads to the great running gag where they keep constantly where Shirase keeps thinking Kimari blabbed about the plan to go to Antarctica, when of course Shirase herself keeps talking about Antarctica constantly, to the point that other girls
actually. Yeah, actually, one of the early parts of when we get to introduce to Shirase, and we find out like why she's so socially awkward, is because she always talks about going to Antarctica, so people start making fun of her.
Yeah, and that's another thing is, I mean, we do see elements of bullying and social awkwardness, because all the girls have social issues. Like Kimari's basically only got one friend. Shirase basically has no friends.
Yeah.
Hinata, we don't see her having friends. It's implied she does, but then...
Right, she's kind of almost where Kimari kind of like was put in a position where she only has one friend. Like Shirase is kind of like, just because she's weird, she doesn't really have any friends.
Yeah.
Whereas Hinata's kind of like distanced herself from anybody that could be friends.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and like it really leads to an interesting thing because she's arguably the funniest. Like Shirase might be funnier just because of how neurotic her character is.
Right. She's oblivious funny.
Yeah, Hinata is aware and just having the time of her life, and I think that's what makes her so charming to me. Plus, I felt very bad for her when something else happens with her character, which we'll get to when we talk about the next one, which is one of my favorite jokes in the whole series just because of how harsh it is. I think you know which one I'm talking about, but I'll bring it up in a second. Yeah. So the fourth member of the crew, like we've had 3 degrees, like she's probably the most straight of the 4, which is kind of funny, introducing the straight man last. But even then, she's not entirely a straight man. But,
no,
like it's most blatant what her issues are from the get-go because she's
Yuzuki,
and she's the youngest as well, and she's also not from the region. Like they all live in I'm forgetting the region because it's not Tokyo, which is a very big thing. It's Gunma, which is in
Gunma,
which is not a. I think they got like 80,000 people there, so it's not small, but it's like. You know, like going to Tokyo. That's what the biggest city in the world. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh yeah, that's definitely an upswing. Yuzuki herself is from Hokkaido, but she's actually she's not an idol, but she's a TV actress. She does commercials.
Yeah, she's a child star, pretty much.
Oh no, she does do music, so I guess she's kind of an idol.
Well, yeah, because they kind of consider her at the end. They were saying like they kind of. Categorize her as an idol who's kind of branching out.
Yeah, like she's not typical, but she does a lot of this. Like she's, I don't know, it's weird, but yeah, she's done commercials, she's done acting stuff, she's done songs apparently. So she's
done enough to make a CD.
Yep, that was the thing.
It might be just an EP, but still, it's enough to make a CD.
Still more of a CD than I have. Featuring us and wild us out bad karaoke covers. I'm not doing that. So she's one of the big things she does is she gets recruited to the we have to get into why she's involved because the other 3 they just like Kimari just wants something to do. Shirase wants to go get closure, and Hinata is looking for an adventure and life experience as well. It's like she's very much like Kimari in that respect.
Yeah, that was one thing I was telling you about off camera before we recorded. Is like I love the fact that they have 2 characters that have different personalities but are very similar in their intent and their nature anyway, just like real people.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like yeah, Kimari and Hinata are like easily 2 characters that should have been best friends forever, right?
Right.
But of course,
which is so funny because we found out like Hinata's working at the shop right at the school, so you know they've probably interacted one way or another.
Oh yeah,
and nothing really clicked.
Yeah, because we see her in the first episode, and it's only later on that we realize that she's important because they kind of do a bit of foreshadowing at the end of the episode. Because one of the things the show does really well is they have the end of episode clip tease for next week is just usually like an image, of a character or a thing that's going to become important, which is pretty great. Because, a lot of anime like to do the 15 to 30 second teaser at the end of the episode to tease them.
Right. Just a random clip from the next episode.
Yeah, because especially in Japan, that's super popular, so it's always integrated into the...
A little bit of narration on top.
Yep. That's included on DVDs and stuff, too.
It's
not just... you wouldn't see that included on, a North American TV DVD or whatever, but in this case, yeah. Anyway, so I was saying about Yuzuki, yeah, she doesn't want to go on the trip, but she's been asked to do a student news report thing on the expedition. So
and this will benefit her career, so that's the main reason why she has to go.
Yeah, and so she doesn't want to go, but if she goes, the other girls can go with her. So there's that conflict where they, but they ultimately just want to try and be her friend. And while they would like to go,
and you have to also add the fact that she wouldn't have known about these girls at all if not for Shirase's incredible plan about seducing and bragging about how they're going to get to Antarctica.
It's true. That plan that backfired spectacularly. Oh, I love that scene. But and then Yuzuki. But also this Yuzuki recruitment leads to one of my favorite bits because the other girls, because they don't want to force Yuzuki to do this. At one point, they offered to audition to be her replacement, and Yuzuki's manager / mother watches them, and of course Shirase has no confidence on camera, so then Hinata tries, which leads to my favorite remark. So she does the thing, she's got the energy, and then her response is, "But can you be attractive?" Which is just the most harsh, hilarious insult I've ever heard. And I'm just like, oh no. That's just mean.
Yes.
So, yeah, ultimately, these four get together and they have just the most amazing experiences. And it's very heartwarming. There's a lot of feels, but there's a lot of laughs. I was sad when it was over.
Yeah, I really wanted to go longer.
Yeah.
It was like one of those things, like, it was, I understand, like, the point of the journey was more important than the destination in this case, and we had that, moments of closure and everything else.
Yeah.
But it was like, man, I really wanted to see them experience Antarctica more. Even though, like I said, this is a big ice block, I just wanted to see what would happen more. That was the only thing because it's so good. I want to see more of them interacting with each other. I wanted to see more hijinks. I don't know exactly what could have happened, but I wanted to see something else. Because it was just so good leading up to the finale.
Absolutely. Like the one thing that was kind of probably the only thing I would have had them do differently, even though it was still a very good episode, was the Singapore episode. Where one of them, they're in Singapore getting ready to go to Australia where they're going to hop on the ship. But while that's happening, one of them loses their passport.
Yeah.
And while it leads to some pretty good character moments, absolutely, because, again, even the worst episodes of this show have very good character moments.
And a fine closing. A masterful reveal.
Oh my god, yeah. But, that's probably the one they could have cut and added more. Because, there was some other stuff that was really interesting, especially because the other character that's really well developed, although a lot of the supporting characters get a lot of development too, is Jin Toto, who was the captain of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And she was actually friends with Shirase's mom, and we see, because probably the biggest theme of this series is friendship.
Yeah.
And it's important because you see the friendship between Jin and Shirase's mom, but you also see the blossoming friendship between these characters. And even later on, when I was it's like, how long have you guys been best friends? It's like,
I was going to bring that up. I was definitely that was one of my favorite moments of the entire series. It was like, she's like, I want to be like you guys because I want to have best friends too. I'm like, we're not best friends. We just met each other.
Yeah, and they end up, but it shows just how important this experience is, even before they get to the Wondrous Place. I mean, the Wondrous Place is great, and there's all kinds of good stuff related to that. But it's I would consider this worthy of a character study. If you're doing a talk on character, just to analyze how the characters are similar yet very distinct. Mm-hmm. Yuzuki stands out the most because she's the most sheltered. That
was the best thing I was going to say. She was the most sheltered, socially awkward.
Yeah, most blatantly socially awkward. Anyway, you can easily tell because she's just incredibly shy. That's it. Shirase's shy, but she's also very outspoken, so it's weird.
She's one of those type of people that you, from an outside perspective, if you don't get to know her, you wouldn't know just how incredibly insane really she is. But once you get around her and she kind of lowers her guard a little bit, you realize this is completely different from what I expected.
Yeah, it's and I think really almost you probably couldn't show this to. Probably the youngest they could watch this would be 10. Maybe 12.
I think from a shallow perspective, maybe 10 or 12.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. You need to be an adult to fully appreciate how good this is.
There's some experiences you need to go through in life to really appreciate this.
Absolutely, but it's it's kind of like Inside Out to a degree. That Pixar movie that's totally about but and it's not at all about how all of the complicated things that happen in life. But it's on Crunchyroll right now. For the love of God, watch it if you haven't.
High recommendation.
Oh yeah. like, if it wasn't for the fact we've also had Devilman this year, this would easily be my recommendation
Oh man,
for best anime of 2018 so far.
wow, that's
But, like,
incredible what we've had already.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of shows we could talk about that we won't, and I don't know if we will. But you know, there's been some legitimately amazing stuff so far this year. And like I said, we just got the third season of My Hero Academia, which continues to be a wonderful show. But that's not what we're talking about. You know what we should be talking about, James?
What's that, Peter?
Your name?
But have
No,
we?
what is your name, James?
I just have a feeling we've met before. Have we?
I don't know. So this one's going back a little bit. It's the movie's just called Your Name. Any anime fan listening to this probably has heard of it at least.
Yeah.
Because this came out in 2016.
Yeah, but one of the big deals now about it is the fact that it has been confirmed they're actually working on a live action version of it.
Yeah. And it's also the highest grossing anime film.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's the 5th highest grossing non-English film worldwide.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
And I think it's number 4 highest grossing of all time in Japan, like just of all films. And I think it's the highest grossing Japanese film. I could be wrong. I think there's another film that made in Japan that let me check.
Okay, here we go. I'm looking at it now. Okay, it's the fourth?
it's the second highest grossing Japanese film in Japan. The only one that beat it, Spirited Away.
Right.
So I was like, oh yeah, you mean that other one that people should always be
talk about? Yeah, you know.
All right, that's a pretty good company to be in. Yeah, so this is a 2016. I guess it's probably romantic fantasy.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of comedy in it too.
There's a rom-com sci-fi adventure.
I don't know what's sci-fi. This is definitely more.
It's got sci-fi elements, I should say. Yeah.
It's really more fantasy, though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I guess I could see the argument for sci-fi, but I would still say it's more.
Yeah, but
fantasy.
it's not really anything that ushered in like, okay, I have a catalyst that's of scientific intent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's like this is what I'm saying. It's. Yeah, and one of the other things, it is up for an award this year, I believe.
Yes.
Saturn Awards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what's it's up for a Saturn Award for Best Animated Film. But yeah, it won a bunch and it got nominated for a bunch in 2016, 2015. Like,
it won a lot of stuff in 2017 too.
Yep. So this is a very decorated movie.
So it's one of those questions now. For us, did it live up to the hype?
I wonder. So this is distributed by Toho. For those who aren't familiar, Toho, of course, very famous for doing the Godzilla films.
Mm-hmm.
But it's directed. Okay, James, do you want to talk about the director? Because I think you're a bigger fan of him than I am. Although I am definitely a fan.
No, we can talk about him together. No, I think we both appreciate a lot of his work.
All right. Yeah, so the director is the still relatively young-ish, all things considered.
I know he's not aged. He's found the fountain of youth through his animation.
He's like Hideo Kojima. He just looks the same age. He's Makoto Shinkai. He's 45, which, I mean, when you consider legendary anime directors, though, a lot of them are like 50 or older now.
Right. And it hits them hard fast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, but, this guy, he of course, no shock, said Hayao Miyazaki is one of his many inspirations.
Yes.
And a few people consider him the new Miyazaki, which he calls an overestimation. Good. Be humble. You don't want to pull a Milli Vanilli, overestimate your importance, and then be destroyed. Remember, Milli Vanilli said they were more popular than the Beatles.
Yes.
History definitely does not agree with that.
It really told you something different.
I'm just saying. You're still allowed to like them, though. I'm not going to hate you for that.
No.
But, yeah, probably, like, two of the film, like, the film that I think most people cite is 5 centimeters per second, a film he did back in 2007, which was, I'm trying to think of the best way, because it was also a romantic drama.
Yeah, it was definitely a romantic drama.
No real fantasy. Like,
it was really no fantasy associated with it. It was just really a tale of two people over the course of 3 short stories, and it's easily one of my favorite anime films of all time. But
Yeah,
he's also done such great work after that. You know, he had Children Who Chase Lost Voices. He had The
yeah,
Garden of Words. He really has this. He has this playground of two individuals, male and female, that are usually separated by something.
yeah.
And he does an
That
incredible
is a common theme in his work, isn't it?
Yes, and he does an incredible job of making you emotionally connected to this potential journey of these two individuals trying to either get together or, in certain cases, kind of breaking away from each other. So we have a similar story with this one, but it is done unlike anything we've seen from his works thus far.
Yeah. So this first of all, the animation in this movie is phenomenal.
Oh my goodness, it's so gorgeous. Hand drawn
like
too, no less. We have to make sure everyone knows it's hand drawn cell animation.
Which is insane.
Oh
especially
my goodness.
Especially with the detail they add.
Yes.
But so we have to unfortunately give away, like, if there's one, I found maybe one flaw about this movie, and that's because to explain what happens in the movie, you have to give away something that the movie spends like 15 minutes building up to.
Right.
That's probably the closest thing this has to a flaw, although it has something else that kind of confuses me.
Okay,
which we'll get to.
We can bring that up, definitely.
But yeah, I'll try to come back to it. But like the big thing is, so by explaining the premise, we are now basically spoiling what is revealed about 15 minutes into the movie.
Right, we can't help it. That's the worst part.
I know. Like this is probably, like I said, and it's really just because, unless you want to say, hey, go see the movie. So the movie is at its core a Freaky Friday.
I was gonna say it's intergender Freaky Friday.
Yeah, like that's because it's. I mean, for those who aren't familiar, Freaky Friday is the premise in which two people swap minds, made famous by the work Freaky Friday, in which a mother and a daughter swap minds. And in this case, or was it always a mother and daughter? Or is it father
I thought
and
it was
son?
always mother and daughter. I don't know.
I did too.
Yeah.
Just talking about it now, though, I'm wondering.
Yeah,
Anyway,
now I'm thinking like maybe there's been a Freaky Friday Dad edition.
In this case, it's a male and a female. In particular, it's a girl who kind of lives in a very small town.
Yeah.
That seemed like about 2,000 people.
Yeah. I mean, it could. I don't want to spoil it. I was about to say. I was actually about to give away a spoiler. So yeah, it's a very small area.
Yeah, and like it's in like she's in a mountain area,
Mm-hmm.
whereas her name is Mitsuha.
Mitsuha.
That's
Yes.
how it's pronounced, right?
Mitsuha. Yes.
Yeah. And then but we also meet Taki, who is a high school boy living in Tokyo.
Both of these are high school individuals, high school age people that
Yep.
apparently are simultaneously living in the same time in different areas.
Yeah. Like they're switching bodies back and forth, and it's a whole thing because they don't know each other at all.
Yeah, because
like there's
not to interrupt on the spoiler part, but the fact is like early in the movie we have Mitsuha. The introduction scene with Mitsuha is just too much because she wakes up and she's giving herself a breast exam.
Well, because this is the thing I like about the movie, because people act like people.
Right.
Like there's a scene where it's like, look, if you suddenly became a chick, you would touch your chest.
Yeah, you're trying to figure out what's going on here, and I love the fact
and if you're a man, you would touch your peen.
Yeah, I love the fact her little sister comes in. It's just at the beginning, she's very nonchalant about it. It's like,
yep,
you're just touching your boobs. It's time for breakfast. You're holding me up. And as the movie progresses, she continuously sees this. The sister gets very disturbed because, of course, her older sister is getting disturbed by this situation once she starts realizing what's going on. And like you said, early in the movie, we have these scenes where Mitsuha is talking to her friends, and they're asking her, what happened to you yesterday? You seem normal today. And she has no idea what you're talking about. And they're saying, hey, you don't remember where you were sitting at, and you don't know where your desk was. You don't remember anything of what happened. You didn't even remember your name. So I love that.
Yeah. And Taki had the same problem.
Yeah, and then you find out, like, okay, we've also had this problem as well, and they're trying to communicate with each other, but can't be sure if it even translates because of the forms of communication they're trying to use.
I know it's a whole like because they do like, stuff like writing in notebooks. They try to email each other. There's all this stuff happens.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite, one of my favorite bits is just later on, the little sister's just like, "Oh, you're not touching boobs this morning," and just to get slightly more into I don't want to give away too much,
Right.
but I want to set this part up just so I can mention one of my favorite realistic moments in this movie.
Okay.
So Taki is a pretty typical dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's got two best friends. He has a date. Like, he's got a night job to make some money. In this case, he works at a restaurant, like, as a waiter.
Mm-hmm.
A pretty fancy place. And, of course, he's got a cute coworker. That's the whole thing. And meanwhile, Mitsuha, she's got two best friends, one male, one female. It's obvious they like each other, but, of course, they bicker all the time.
Right.
You know, and they hang out because it's a small town. They don't have a cafe to hang out. They just go to a coffee boss machine. Because, of course, they do. But the big thing about Mitsuha is her family are this shrine maidens.
Yes.
For, I'm not going to try and say the god's name, but it's for a very specific god.
Right.
Because they do legitimately dive into Shintoism in this movie. Like, there's a lot of legitimate religious elements in here.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
It's done masterfully, too. Like, it's one of those things that makes you intrigued to learn more, which is incredible.
Absolutely, because almost nothing they show is made up, except for, the obvious supernatural elements.
Right.
But even then, I'm sure some of it actually ties into spiritualism.
Right.
The spiritualism they talk about.
Very true.
But one of my favorite bits is she participates in the traditional shrine ceremony where they make the ritualistic sake,
Yes.
which I think it has a fancy name, but I'm not going
Yeah,
to say it.
yeah.
But the thing is, it's made traditionally, which is, it's dissolved using spit.
Mm-hmm.
And now if you're thinking, oh, so they make someone drink the alcohol made from spit? That's gross. Well, a character who is a local observes it and still thinks it's gross, showing that even in an isolated small town where this is tradition, people still think that's weird.
Right.
Which just makes like I said, that just encapsulated realism for me so well. Like, just the people act like people, and like, it's something that I can never get sick of.
Yeah, I can't deny. One of my favorite, once again, the early part of the movie where we find out about Mitsuha's father.
Oh my god, that guy.
Yeah, and he's having a little soapbox session. He's trying to do a little campaign. Apparently early in the morning because she's heading to school, and she tries to hide her face, and he sees her,
Yep.
and it's not like, hi Mitsuha, have a good day. It's like, straighten up.
I know. He's just a dick. Oh, it turns out they're estranged.
Right.
So...
It's still a strange. I mean, come on. Like, you don't see your daughter once in a while, and you finally see her, and you can't even wish her a good day at school. It's like, no, straighten up.
Nope.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and as you can guess by the fact that it's also a romantic film, yes, our two mind-swapping people do fall in love. That is very much integral to the plot.
Yeah.
I think that's where I want to draw the line of spoilers. I don't want to give away... Well, there's a few twists going on.
Yeah, the only thing I will say that the actual meeting, not later on in the movie, but as a meeting between the two, at a very important spot in the movie that was so incredibly impactful when you see it from both sides. And I was like, wow, I kind of expected it, but I didn't know they were going to go that route with it, and it just was a great, great moment. They kind of put it over the top for me as an overall experience.
Yeah, like a lot of crazy stuff happens, and I just love all the antics we get, especially because like Taki's a very confident, in-your-face type of dude.
Yeah.
Whereas Mitsuha's a little more meek but very sweet.
Right.
So as a result, alternate Taki gets a more feminine side.
Yeah.
And Mitsuha gets a more like brash, confident side.
Yeah, because
It's pretty
really, when they kind of switch bodies, they both benefit each other's lives in a way that the other couldn't normally do. Which is so funny to me because it's like, hey, if I'm in your body, and this is not me normally, this is exactly how I would act. And It was just a good little twist on the whole thing. Because instead of just being weird about everything, it's like, okay, I got my wish. Now I'm going to really turn it off.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's just good. I can't. It's very good.
Yes.
And I was tearing up. I'm not gonna lie. And I was making jokes even at the end, and I kind of felt bad about making jokes.
For
like
me,
at one point, the character kind of, well, like to give away a joke I made. At one point, Taki looks at his hand because they've been writing messages on each other's hands, and he stares at it for a while. And I just kind of sat there, I just kind of went and decided to be Taki's inner monologue. It's like, so what do you think, right hand? I say you kill them all.
but
As you can imagine, it works better if you actually
right. You actually see the hand. Like all of a sudden, the hand comes up and starts talking while he's looking at the other hand.
Because I timed that perfectly. But I'm like, I felt bad for even making that joke because it actually happens in a kind of emotional moment.
Yeah. Well, you were saying that you were tearing up from it. And I got to say, man, the soundtrack is what really put it over the top too for me when it comes to an emotional experience.
Oh, the soundtrack is so good. Like I said, the only thing that bugs me is the fact that when you know the premise, the first 15 minutes can feel weird.
Yeah.
But that's a very forgivable thing. Because, it's like, I just don't, and they do get into this. What's nice is they kind of explain it.
Right.
Which is something you don't normally see in a movie like this.
Yeah, it's just one of those happenstance moments, just a supernatural occurrence that, hey, you have to do something and then you go get your body back, kind of deal.
Yeah, it's either there's no explanation or there's a very dumb explanation. See, what is it? The switch up, the change up, where Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman pee in a magic fountain.
Mm-hmm.
And the funniest part of the movie is explaining that to people.
Right.
Because everything else in that movie is pretty bad.
Right.
But, yeah. No, it's just... I love this movie. I cannot lie. I was going to bring up the other weird thing. If you don't mind. And then, this movie has an intro.
Yeah.
It has an opening sequence like an anime would. And I don't mean like an anime movie. I mean like an
actual TV show. And I actually was kind of taken aback by it because I did not expect that.
That's really weird. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if that's now a thing or if it was some intentional evocation choice.
Yeah, I think it was more of we had this great intro song. How do we get it in here somewhere? How? Okay, let's just go.
Well, let's just give this...
Yeah.
Let's just give the movie an intro.
Just give them the anime intro.
The movies usually don't have these kind of intros. Well, we do now. Okay.
All right, now that's the standard.
Whatever works, I guess. Yeah, so we end up with... We just had... I don't know, but in the end, I'm just like... I love this film.
I cannot deny it. It's an absolute masterpiece that I cannot say if you do like anime that you should not have this in your collection. Not just to see it, you have to own this somehow.
Yeah. How the hell was this not nominated for a freaking Academy Award?
Goodness.
This should... Because I can't remember what it would have gone up against, but, it could have had a shot. Anyone in the Academy who actually saw this... they have to
need to broaden their horizons. Seriously.
This... I've already seen references to this movie in a lot of stuff, including Pop Team Epic makes a reference to it, which is pretty great. I don't know if you've seen Pop Team Epic. Yeah. But, do you want to talk about the movie?
No. I mean, the best thing I can say is that you need to own this movie. You really do. It deserves to be in your collection. If you're an anime, not even if you're just a viewer of anime. If you are a movie lover, this is something that should be in your collection.
Just be very careful if you buy the Blu-ray because the subtitle dub settings confuse the hell out of me. I don't know what you watched on, James, but I had it on, and of course it defaulted to dub, and it's a pretty good dub. But the people I was watching with initially were like, can we do subs? I'm like, all right, whatever. I personally just go whatever it gives me
Right.
most of the time. I have no opinion.
Yeah, same
in the
here.
sub
I'm
versus dub debate.
I'm not a dub versus sub guy. I'm just whatever's there and I enjoy it is perfectly fine by me.
Unless the dub
Unless
sucks.
the dub is so terrible that it's just cringeworthy. If it's early '90s dub kind of style, even in the 2000s, yeah, I gotta go with sub.
Well, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the new one, the dub is terrible. Like none of the voices suit their characters. It's awful. For some reason, Joseph Joestar goes from really effeminate to sounding like a big African American man. It's really weird. Don't get me wrong. I like the fact that the guy they cast to play old Joseph, but his young one is like.
Doesn't make any sense.
It sounds like the young one should be playing a mincing, not necessarily gay character, but a mincing sexual character.
An eccentric character,
which is not like. Yeah, sensual. Sorry, not sexual. It's late. for me. Anyway, but yeah, but yeah, the dub of this is pretty good. The subs are of course great too because the Japanese voices, everyone's on point. Just be careful with the Blu-ray because that gave me a headache. Yeah. I think on that note we should call it. But it's nice to talk about two things in a row, on this episode that. Any complaints they have are very
we can
minor.
both gush about it so much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is something I'm recommending to. I recommended this to my 14-year-old nephews, both Your Name and A Place Further. Like I said, because they'll probably appreciate it to a degree.
Yeah, I definitely think they will. Yeah.
Especially
Your Name. I think the age limitations aren't as vast on Your Name than they are compared to Universe. I think there's some experience you need to go through before you can really get the full impact of Universe. Whereas Your Name, I think it could pretty much, like you said, it could have been Oscar worthy.
Totally.
It's just that good.
This is easily one of my favorite animated films since Princess Mononoke, which was 1997. So I mean, that tells you. Don't get me wrong. I love Summer Wars, and just to name a couple of movies we talked about before. But I mean,
this is on a whole nother level.
Damn. This really is, and I love Summer Wars. I'm just going to emphasize. You're absolutely. I'm not even going to disagree. I'm just saying. Look, I already love this thing, but I love this thing even more. I didn't know what love was. I feel like I need to sit down and look at the screen. He's like, "What is love?"
Please tell me.
And don't you dare hurt me, baby. No more.
Oh, man.
Well, I think on that note, since we've now gone to Night at the Roxbury jokes, we definitely need to stop.
Yeah, we need to call it a day now. Yeah.
Honestly, the last 5 minutes has probably just been us gushing, which is not great, but I mean...
No, it's perfect. It's appropriate. It's appropriate for those.
It's earnest. We mean this. Because, I mean, oh my God. I keep hearing how good this was. I'm like, this actually exceeded my expectations.
The worst part for me was the fact that I had been sitting on it for so long. Like, I actually gotten it, was going to watch it, just kept putting it off. And then when I finally did, I was like, man. It's one of those things like it makes you think that, I'm actually glad I did put it off because maybe I wouldn't have been in the best place to watch it then. And then it was like that perfect moment. Like, everything came together. It's an absolutely perfect moment to experience this movie.
Yeah. I had the best audience with this. All right, well, on that note, I want to thank you for being here, James.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, especially when I remember your name.
Well, don't you dare forget it. Because you know what happens if you do.
What's going to happen?
I get rebooted into an alternate universe where I decide to agree to be in Green Lantern.
Oh, man.
That's a subtle hint for what we're probably going to talk about next episode. Because we are going to be doing pretty much a movie more or less every week going forward. I don't think there's going to be too many more exceptions because we got so many summer movies still to come.
So much lockdown.
But that's in the future. And until next time, folks, have yourselves a good day.